Hi there, everyone. This is Mark Plunkett, the pastor of Heritage Presbyterian Church, and this is our weekly devotional for Monday, March the 21st, 2022. I just got back from a week's vacation last week, and during part of that vacation, I went back to my hometown, Austin, Texas. My daughter and my son-in-law and my grandson live in South Austin. And you know, it's funny, every time I go to Austin, I'm just astounded at all the changes, at how everything is so very different. The part of town that I used to live in is now almost in the middle of Austin. It used to be on the edge of Austin. I also remember when sometimes we would drive up to Georgetown to go shopping or have dinner or whatever when I was a kid. And I remember that first we'd be on Highway 35, we'd go to Round Rock, and then we'd go to Georgetown. It was like 30, 40 minutes away. Well, now if you drive that drive, there's not a lot of space between Austin and Georgetown. It's almost like Austin is growing to get all the way up to Georgetown now. Also, in the places where my daughter and my son-in-law and my grandson live in South Austin, it used to be there was nothing there. I didn't know anybody that lived in South Austin. I knew a few when I was in college, but boy, South Austin has gotten so much bigger. So it's kind of strange. When I drive around Austin, sometimes I know where I am, but a lot of times I have no idea where I am. And it's funny because I used to really know Austin well. And it reminds me of a Bible story. Jesus went to his hometown one time, Nazareth. And this was after he had been out in the communities, out in the area around Galilee. And he had been preaching and he'd been casting out demons and he'd been healing people. And the people in Nazareth, they could hardly wait until he came home. But the thing was, they didn't really want him to come back as this new Messiah. They wanted, it almost seems like, they wanted him to do tricks. They wanted him to cast out demons. They wanted him to heal the sick. That's all they wanted him to do. Now he came and he taught in the synagogue and he told them who he was, who he really was. They got so mad at him that they grabbed him and dragged him out of town and they threatened to throw him off this little cliff that was near Nazareth at the time. And he just walked through the crowd and left. And we don't have anything in the Gospels that say that Jesus ever went back to Nazareth again. It's the old saying, you can't go home again. Well, that's not entirely true. Because, like for example, I can go back to Austin anytime I want. I could get a job in Austin, I suppose, if I wanted to do that. But when I was teaching in Austin, one of the things that I found out was that there were so many teachers and librarians and even principals that knew my mother and my dad and even my great aunt. And so the problem was I was little Marky Plunkett every place I went. Here I was, Bob Plunkett's son, Pat Plunkett's son, Ruth Junkin's nephew. I was little Marky Plunkett. And so part of that, you can't go home again, I completely understand. When I moved to Houston, nobody knew me here. Nobody except my wife. And so everybody that I've met, all the friends that I've made, all the jobs that I've had, and the good work that I've done it myself. Not because I was Bob Plunkett's son or Pat Plunkett's son or Ruth Junkin's nephew. So I understand that bit about you can't go home again. But there's another side to it. Another side to it is, okay, you can't go home again, but whenever you leave, you always carry a little bit of home with you. And so maybe it's okay. I read that today and I thought, that's probably true. So even though Jesus was rejected by the people in Nazareth, he had grown up with them. He loved them. He and his dad, Joseph, probably took care of them and made things and fixed things and did stuff like that for them. So even though they rejected him, I know that Jesus still loved them in his heart. And I'm willing to bet that Jesus had good memories of Nazareth because it was a hard-working place. It wasn't a very big place, so he knew everybody. And just imagine what that must have been like and how much it must have hurt when they made him leave. Well, nobody's ever made me leave Austin. And when I go back, I don't always recognize stuff. But I know sometimes it is hard to go back. Part of that is also we need to live our lives and live them fully wherever we are. I heard a minister say one time, live life and live it all the way up. And maybe we should all try to do that. And maybe let go of the past a little bit. Amen.